Jeff Laurenti. Mr. Prime Minister, following up on your answer just now, which broadened the aperture from women to the minorities in Pakistan, and Richard's earlier question about radicalization there, you have seen bombings of Shiite mosques in Quetta and elsewhere, the assassination of Governor Salman Taseer by an Islamic extremist, the capital death penalty case of Asia Bibi, who was finally allowed out of Pakistan for being a Christian who didn't entirely reverence the Prophet Muhammad. And you have publishers who are fearful of Islamist attacks and such. Is there any progress to be made on reforming those blasphemy laws, and how pervasive is the sense of the tiny minority fundamentalists being able to employ violence in order to enforce religious conformity? And do you get help from elsewhere in the Muslim world, like Saudi, at being able to progress toward a more moderate Islam?
Okay, first let me clear one thing. There is only one Islam. There's no such thing as moderate Islam or radical Islam. I even heard yesterday that there was this radical Islam. There is only one Islam. Islam, like all human communities, has its radicals, majority moderates, and then of course some lunatics who every human society has it. There you might have your racists. When I first went to England, there were these skinheads who would beat up people because of the color of their skin. So there is only one Islam, and the Islam we follow is the Islam of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that Islam, according to the Prophet, all of us are born children of Adam, so we are all equal, regardless of our color of our skin. That Islam gave complete rights to minorities. In the state of Medina he created, a Jewish citizen wins a case against the Khalifa, the head of state. He loses a case against a Jewish citizen, which means that they were equal citizens if they could stand and win against the head of state. That's the Islam we follow. In my vision of Islam, all human beings, regardless of their religion, are equal. Now, if we have not been able to enforce our laws, it's because unfortunately we have ruling elites that have kept themselves above law. And when that happens, and Pakistan is not the only country like this. There are countries where you have sections of populations, the elites, above the law. And when that happens, there is no rule of law. Then might is right. So my party is called Tehreek-e-Insaf, Movement for Justice. And justice means justice for all human beings. In fact, for me, justice means for animals too. Because in the state of Medina, who we look up, for Muslims there is only one model, and that is the Prophet created the state of Medina. That state of Medina gave rights to women first time, property rights. That state of Medina first introduced progressive taxation. First welfare state. State took responsibility of handicapped, orphans, widows, poor. That state of Medina had rule of law. No one was above law. So, and as I quote, a Jewish citizen could win a case against the head of state. That's the state we want. That's the ideal we move to. Unfortunately, we are not close to that ideal, and this is why 13 months on the line, we have, at least what we have done is, no one would have touched the criminals who plundered our country. No one would have been able to put them in jail because there was one law for the powerful and the other for the weak. So it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but this is my ideal.